Bwahahahahaha. My name is Amy too, and welcome back to Synth. I'm not doing the alphabet this time, because it gets redundant doing only that for a bit, so I'll mix in just regular ones in between. So, Amy 2 found a pet ninja in the woods. Let's see what this turns into. Amy 2 found a pet ninja in the woods, and her new best friend just might be able to use her powers to help defeat the evil villain. What evil villain? So Amy and her best friend can have adventures and maybe even save the day. In this book, Amy learns new ways to help herself and others and discovers that with hard work, friendship, and bravery, the world is safe, and so is her new pet ninja. I like how it went along with the ninja. And Amy can help a lot of people. Piper's new best friend, a magical monkey named Macduff, what? Can get his own new pets and help save his island paradise from the evil Monkey King and his evil minions. Piper and Macduff team up to fight for Macduff's home and help find his lost family. Piper's adventure continues in Book 2 of the Monkey King series, Macduff Returns. Bethany House Children's Publishing Group. ISBN 9781419163891. www.bethanyhouse.com. I can't continue it because it ends with a URL, and that never goes well for continuations. Round legs, apparently. Amy 2 found a pet ninja in the woods, and now it's coming back. A new pet has appeared in the woods. As Amy 2 was returning home, she found a pet in the forest. It was a cute pet with round legs and a blue fur. Amy 2 wanted to keep the pet so she could play with it later. However, she quickly ran back to the forest when it ran away from her. Amy 2 was disappointed when she found out that the pet did not have a name. The pet could have a name, right? Amy 2 felt like she had to find the pet. She looked for a trail leading to the pet, but she could not find one. She searched for another pet nearby, but there were no pets. She then decided to explore the woods, looking for clues about the pet. Amy 2 felt like the pet would follow her back home. Finally, Amy 2 found what she was looking for. It was a blue hat resting on a shelf in the kitchen. Amy 2 picked up the hat and hid it inside her backpack. The next time she goes home, she will pick up the hat and give it a name. A dog hat will be a... What? A dog hat will be a wonderful addition to her backpack. She said, I have to get back to playtime. Can you think of anything better? What? Moon was driving his car when suddenly it was teleported into a hospital. Whatever, I couldn't come up with any other ideas. Pokemon? How? Moon was driving his car when suddenly it was teleported into a hospital, where his fiancée and friend were being held. Held? This is a prison hospital? That Moon took it upon himself to save them. Unfortunately, he died while doing so. Rest in peace, Moon. Though he survived! And now, being the only human in town, he has to find a way to protect himself from the animals and insects that roam this town. I've never been a fan of this kind of games. As a kid, they always made me feel nauseous while I was playing. I'd also never manage to beat them, as I'd be so distracted by the violence that my fingers would freeze up and I'd have to use my phone to play. The only exception was the original Pokemon, which I'd play endlessly, as the graphics and music were so perfect that it'd be the only time in my life I'd have any success with a game. That's funny. There are a lot of games that are easier than Pokemon. The reason I was playing the first Pokemon games was because it was a new Pokemon game. So this was in the 90s. Moon was driving his car when suddenly it was teleported into a military base. He didn't know what that means, but he decided to ask the officer sitting at his desk. I wonder why the military sent me here, he asked. So you think the military teleported you there? The officer looked at him very odd. You're the president of the moon, sir. What? And I'm still in the moon. Want to see my passport? Passport to the moon. Why are you here? Asked the officer. I want to meet the Commander-in-Chief of the United States. The officer looked at him again and said, This is Commander-in-Chief, President Moon. In the room, the Commander-in-Chief, President Moon, looked very upset, and he couldn't wait to get out of there. He asked Moon for help. You are the president. Can you help me? But Moon shook his head. Slater found a triangular hole in the ice. Machetes have returned. I remember when Talk to Transformer did that with Amy too. Slater found a triangular hole in the ice with the light of his flashlight bouncing off the reflective side. He maneuvered himself into it. Once he was in, his breathing filled the narrow tunnel. With the muzzle of his gun pointed straight down, he waited for the creature to surface. What creature? A few seconds later, it was right there, in front of him. Slater didn't back away. He stepped forward slowly and pressed his shotgun against the creature's face. I'm not going to shoot you, he told it. You need to put down your machete. The creature did as he said. Slater reached out and pried the blade free from its hand. Leave it, Slater said, as the creature put its hands up and stepped back. I don't want to hurt you. I've never seen anything like you before, Slater said as he turned back to the others, who waited with shotguns trained on the cold thing. The cold thing? Your guns are not very accurate, and your rifles are old and rusted. I doubt they would even work against a gorilla. What? So what is with the gorillas? I once had one that was like the albino gorilla, you know. It's no problem, Grinler said. What is this name? Is that a real name? We get, well, it seems like it's something. We got some, like, strange YouTube videos there. Strange images. Whatever, I'm out of here. Grinler said, we'll just put an ice pack in its eyes. What? That's a little heavy for an ice pack, said Mick Glone. Mick Glone? Mick Glone. Another name to search. Mike McGlone. Okay, yeah, he's a real person. American actor. Who is now trying to unholster his rifle and place it in the sled's carry bag? The sled again. All right, let's go, Slater said. We might as well finish it off. He reached for the ice pack, picked it up, and turned to the beast. The others saw the ice pack going into the gorilla's chest. What? So it is a gorilla. And also what in the world? Seconds later, it was removed from the creature's head. Slater moved the pole against the side of the ice like a whip, then grabbed his shotgun. He hit the side of the creature's face with the pole. It reared. What? What? Hey, you know you can't have a good time without beer. So that's why it's here. Slater found a triangular hole in the ice near their cabin and used a metal ring to punch it. What? Allowing them to reach into the water and pull out the mussels, which they boiled in a pot. I got to eat it, and my whole diet is beer. I can't live without beer, said Sletter, who says he drank a half-dozen beers during the expedition. Well, I mean, it depends on how long the expedition is. Like, if it's a day, that's quite a lot. But if it was, like, a month, then that's not much. But, like, whatever. After that, we had to get the fire going again. But we made it! The pair returned to the cabin at about 5 p.m. After a quick bite, they quickly went back outside to collect the mussels. The reason we came back is because it was the end of the expedition. And we had to get the mussels, said Sletter. It was pretty easy to get. A big mussel is pretty easy to get. Although there was some light in the cabin, the sun was down, and the pair had to navigate by moonlight and by flashlight. We're probably going to go on another expedition in our lifetimes, maybe, said Sletter. It was fun. It was a great time, but we'll never go on that expedition again. What? It's weird. Big Boy, Buddy, and Gladia were landing on a glowing green asteroid when suddenly... Big Boy, Buddy, and Gladia were landing on a glowing green asteroid when suddenly an alarm started beeping. An emergency red alert. Buddy, Gladia called in response. We've got company. She's so deadpan. Dryer, the other glider pilot, flew his glider beside his friend. I see them, Dryer said. They look like a bunch of rocks. I mean, the rocks are huge, he added in a puzzled tone. Gladia looked in the direction of the rocks. Oh, they aren't rocks. They're rocks and rocks and rocks. She looked confused and nervous. Buddy was still in the cockpit. Oh, now I know. There, he said excitedly as he looked out at the rocks. I know what these are, he paused. They're rocks and rocks and rocks. The glider landed in a crouch beside Dryer. He looked out and he could... Why are there gliders? He looked out and he could see a few light green metallic-looking spheres, some moving, some simply sitting still. After a moment, Buddy called, Hey! He said, We're getting closer to them! While these two young pilots stood confused in the cockpit, the other gliders, headed by Shredder... I didn't put in Sletter, so that actually surprised me. Headed by Shredder, were landing around them. And, well, we don't know. I said out loud to myself, this was not as bad as I had thought. The only thing we knew for certain was that these gliders, many of them gliders without engines, yeah, that's what a glider is, were flying just above the asteroid. Let's just say this, if the glider has an engine, it's an airplane. They couldn't land by normal means. What do you mean they can't land by normal means? Like they can only land by abnormal means? Hey, Buddy called to Dryer. Come on, let's look at them. Dryer moved into the cockpit. Don't touch them! Buddy warned him. They look like they might break. Okay, Dryer agreed, putting a hand on one of the spheres. I won't touch them. What are these things? Dryer asked in disbelief. How come they're so important? They're rocks and rocks and rocks? What is this? Buddy answered, I bet they're more important than that, he added, looking at Dryer. Dryer nodded in agreement. Look, he pointed to the glider in the distance. The Shredder. Big Boy, Buddy, and Gladia were landing on a glowing green asteroid when suddenly, from deep inside the asteroid, a great black hole appeared. When the hole appeared, Gladia and her boys why is that in double quotes, were frozen in midair, while Buddy, who was floating just behind Gladia, took advantage of this opportunity to land. Gladia was still frozen in the air, and her clothes started to melt. The question is, were they, like, wet and they frozen like ice, and just, the ice melted, or are they actually melting off of her? After she was taken by the black hole. What? And was being sucked into the inner asteroid. Gladia tried to escape, but a new black hole appeared from the middle of the black hole that swallowed Gladia. What? This is getting complicated. It's like the birthception one that we had last night, which was not on video. At the very instant she arrived in the black hole, she had lost her head because it was too massive to get through. That's a callback to another one, where her mother had to have a C-section to remove her because her head was too big to fit out of her, And in addition, she found herself in the center of the entire universe, with the stars around her. And in this middle of the black hole, the two black holes were facing each other. The one on the left was the size of a mountain, and the one on the right. The one on the right was the size of a moon. Okay, yeah, there's no comparison in size here. The one is way bigger than the other, unless we were talking like tiny moon. Like comet-sized moon. Well, I mean, comets can get pretty big, I guess. The left one was sucking Gladia in, and the right one was taking her. On the way to her death, Gladia managed to remember the advice Buddy gave to her a long time ago, but she still couldn't remember a single thing Buddy said. What? With this thought, Gladia closed her eyes and concentrated hard on looking for an answer. Previous chapter. Imauto. Next chapter. What? Big Boy, Buddy, and Gladia were landing on a glowing green asteroid when suddenly, everyone aboard was knocked down. When they came to, they were lying on their bellies on an alien spaceship on their way to another planet called Reran. On Reran, the children found some kids of their own age, but the new kids, at first, did not like them. Buddy told his grandfather about that. You see, his grandfather is with him. Is that Big Boy? You see, the Rarans don't know about our games of hide-and-seek and hopscotch. He said maybe they've never played those games before, but we like to play them on Earth, so it'll be fun to play them with the Rarans. In the ship's lounge, the kids were talking and playing some card games. The kids were excited to see what their new home would be like. I'd be terrified, honestly, if aliens abducted me. Buddy sat on his bed and looked out the window. He saw a spaceship land. It looked just like their ship. Copycats! Bootleggers! The newcomers looked very frightened. Buddy could read between the lines. They were terrified. Buddy tried to reassure them. Don't worry, my friends. There's plenty of fun to be had here. You sound kind of creepy, dude. I could make you laugh when you wake up, he said. Yeah, now you're definitely creepy. He then turned to Gladia. My father used to tell me stories when I was young, he said. He started to tell me a story about 3 friends. One of them walked into a bakery one day with a big basket of cookies. He said the bakers invited him in for some cookies. We took the cookies and went back to the backyard. I did not know what was going on, but I guess there was a birthday party for my friend, Buddy explained. What? Buddy then moved on to a conversation he was having with one of the kids at the table next to his. Hello, young lady, I'm Buddy, he said. Buddy grinning as he said this. Dude, you're creepy. He grinned. Gladia and the kids all laughed. Well, at least they found it funny. Buddy finished the story and went to the kitchen to make some tea. The kids came over to him and introduced themselves. Buddy is our pilot, they said. He asked them if they would like some tea. They did. Buddy poured each one a cup. He enjoyed the conversation and the kids showed him their room. If you ever need anything, we will be glad to help you. Our spaceship is on the landing strip now. You may be able to come visit it if you like, Buddy said. Gladia stood up and put her arms around Buddy. Oh, more shipping between them. Thank you so much for allowing us to stay with you, Buddy. We hope to see you again soon, she said. Buddy walked over to Gladia and put his arms around her. I am happy you are friends with my family. What? What? When we go back home, we may send for you to come visit our ship, he said. Gladia replied, I can come visit you when we come back home. But stopped short of saying what she wanted. Uh-huh. Buddy said, the time we spend on Earth is short. It is best for me to be in my new home before the end of the year. Page 10. Big ship is a term that Buddy uses to describe a spaceship. He showed the kids some of his drawings of rockets and spacecraft. Buddy said, I hope you are excited to visit my spaceship. I want to show you our brand new spaceship here on Earth. It is bigger than our rockets and much more powerful. You are the first people ever to see it. Buddy said, our ship is on the landing strip now. You may be... Okay, it's starting to loop a little. But anyway, I'm going to have to end this video here. It's getting late. But anyway, if you like this video, please subscribe, like the video, and comment. Anyway, bye.